It's tough. I think the sector so far hasn't seen that much innovation, and it's starting to emerge. What we see at Genesis is a huge amount of price-led competition, sort of offering discounts, cheaper ways to get electricity, but not necessarily better ways to inform the customer, give them insight, and engage them in the product. And that's one of the things that we're focused very heavily on, is how do we engage our customers in the products so they can make choices. I think, as a whole, the market has got a lot of retailers, which should drive a lot of competition and eventually innovation-led competition, because we can't all compete on price. It's a race to the bottom in the end. I think we need to encourage the startups. We need to have the big companies partner with some of the startups too. And I'd actually encourage some of the startups, and this is not a sort of a self-interested comment, more an observation too, to be willing to partner with the big companies, because it gives you a channel to market, gives you an opportunity to create scale, and bring some of your innovation techniques into the businesses you're working with. I think the challenge will be is if all the smaller companies try and go their own, and all the bigger companies try and compete with them. But it is a vibrant market in many ways because there's so many. But the choice consumers have today is very much, where do I get my electricity from, or gas in some cases, not how do I get it, and not choosing between companies that offer vastly different business models. They're all pretty much the same. So we've got a long way to go, but it's quite exciting to be here now. I think the main benefit we've had is just by association, being exposed to entrepreneurial thinkers. So we haven't had any direct benefits from any of the business ideas necessarily in it, but just myself and others who have turned up to some of the events. There's a sort of there's an emotion you get when you're around entrepreneurs. I think the biggest challenge of a big company is we get tied up in internal processes and bureaucracy and meetings and governance, and really we just need to get out there and understand customers, what's going on in the market. And what I love about Light Lamb Innovation is the innovators that are in there trying to make way in the market are inspirational to those of us working in a bigger company. I think that's a challenge, though. I think if I was an entrepreneur starting up and I had a great idea, I'd be reluctant to partner with a big company. But there are models where you can partner and remain reasonably independent too, and I think those are the sort of things we need to look at. Yeah. So that the entrepreneur can carry on innovating and moving their business forward and having a stake in it, and not be gobbled up by a big bureaucracy. But the bigger company can also learn and adapt and evolve and help bring that business to market faster. 2.5 to 4 years ago, I was working at AGL in Australia, and I was running the New Energy Group, which was a skunk works. We were creating new products and services and taking them to market. We had a slightly separate brand, we had a separate culture, we were in a separate part of the building. It was this kind of new venture environment. But what I learned through that is, the challenge with that is it alienates the rest of the organization. And when you ask yourself, why shouldn't the rest of the organization also be like the skunk works? There is no reason why the rest of the organization shouldn't be. So as I came to Genesis, I set out to make the whole of Genesis like the skunk works. And we're making great progress. We've rolled out Scaled Agile. We've got 13 squads across 120 or so people, cross-functional technology, customer service, product marketing, working together with empowered frameworks, all targeting a mission without the need to refer up, to get permission to do things, incredibly motivated. So culturally it's been a huge push. So, I'm a believer that actually there's no reason why your whole organization can't transform, particularly Genesis' size. We're not that big in global terms, and I often say there are organizations bigger than Genesis Energy in Silicon Valley, and they have their board meetings on beanbags. Right? So there's no need, because we're just a big organization in the New Zealand context, to act like a big organization. So we're trying to be entrepreneurial ourselves, and I think while I wouldn't ever say you don't need a skunk works on the side for some things, and there's most things we need the culture to pervade throughout, and learn from other organizations around the world that have done similarly.